This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV. We're on day 2 of Cloud Expo, Internet of Things Expo, here in Santa Clara, California. We're sitting with Brendan O'Brien, who's the chief evangelist and co-founder of Aria Systems. He likes to talk about business models and really kind of living in the real world. And so we're going to take that and move it a little bit over to the Internet of Things, because there is a real world and there are some challenges. And what would you like to talk about?
So, thanks, Roger. Obviously, as you and I have discussed many times before, there is a natural synchronization between the business models that IoT is there to sort of support and the business models that a system like Aria Systems is there to support. You know, recurring revenue, subscription, consumption-based billing, we get all that. And that's moving along really nicely. But what's keeping me awake at night is really the future of IoT and are the technological and business models that IoT is going to have to play in that we deal with today sufficient for the future of IoT. From a technology standpoint, I'm concerned about not just data volumes, but data security, right? I mean, obviously that's a big topic here at your convention, and at the end of the day, the way that we secure data traffic going across the internet is based on technology that's now 18, 19, 20 years old and was kind of bolted on to the web, right? It wasn't sort of part of the fabric of how web communication was developed. My concern is with the data scales that are going to be coming along with IoT, and we have all seen these giant predictions of huge numbers, is that security model going to scale along with it? I'm not sure that it will.
I was talking before with some people about this, and you get a little bit of paranoia on one hand. On the other hand, what is it? Just because you're not paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you, I think is how that works. And so, but are you looking at IoT, the potential traps, as being sort of something catastrophic, or more like depth of 1,000 cuts that it's going to kind of hurt?
No, I think you're right. Depth of 1,000 paper cuts is probably more of the model. But, it's the other problem, and this is crossing the line from a technology problem into a business problem, is we are all sitting here building out our individual businesses, and basically what we're doing is we're building silos, right? We're all building our individual silos. And we're leveraging the capabilities that other partners bring to the table, and that's all great. But the real promise of IoT is going to come with a freer form of data interchange among providers than we are accustomed to on a large scale today. The example I like to give, this sort of a little bit of a thought exercise, is if I have an IoT wearable device that's able to measure my vital statistics, which I think would be a great product, so I hope somebody out there is working on that. I bet they are. Wouldn't it be cool if, while I'm on vacation in Toronto, Canada, if I have an irregular heartbeat and that gets detected, that device can notify the nearest hospital, call an ambulance service, get my electronic medical records forwarded over into the ambulance while it's in transit to pick me up? There's a lot of players in that story, right? And it's all some form of IoT, but you can't rely on pre-built business partnerships, and you can't rely on the kinds of data interchange standards that we have to affect that today, right? So that's the fear, right? I think that consumer demand, when it sees what IoT is capable of, is going to demand services like that and realize, well, the technology's there, why can't it happen? And it's almost a business problem more than a technology problem that prevents it from happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's de jure, de facto, by fiat, or just by market-driven. I mean, to get people to play nice, get people to trust one another. You're seeing maybe sort of a consumer-driven need, because it starts with the thing that you're talking about wearing on your wrist, and there's going to sell a lot of them. Right. Therefore, there's a huge market, and these big problems have to be solved because your tolerance for it not working is zero. That's the thing about consumer stuff, and that's going to motivate people to play nice. Is that sort of the path you're on there?
Yeah, that's my hope, right? Yeah. Is that is a groundswell is going to actually force people to start to figure out ways to tear down these business and technology silos that we're all so accustomed to. And that becomes probably exponentially harder when we're talking about, in my example again, things like public healthcare systems, right? That's a government agency, right? So it's not necessarily incented the same way that private business is. So you have this combination of verticals, some private sector, some public sector, consumer demand, technology constraints, and constraints around the way we do business that are all kind of, I see these things combining to form a bit of a roadblock for the next phase of IoT, right, where we're going to be hopefully in 3, 4, or 5 years.
So what's Aria Systems doing about that?
Oh, that's a really good question. To some degree, we're a bit of a downstream slave to whatever gets solved here. I mean, Aria is not going to dictate things like communication standards or security standards. We have a platform that's ready to absorb any standard you throw at us, right? And there are a lot of people working on the technology standards. The Oasis Group, I believe they're here at your show. The Industrial Internet Consortium, led by GE, et cetera, the All Seen Alliance. Right, so I don't know who's going to win. Right, we don't know. There's going to be. I'm agnostic, but we have to hope that somebody wins and that you have a lot of adherence to that standard, and it has to happen quickly. So we're just kind of, unfortunately, in a bit of a waiting game on that.
So we talk about business models. You're actually talking about it's sort of like operations first, or let's fix things along the way first. You can't really envision a workable IoT business model without seriously addressing these problems. It's not just a simple matter of planning, I guess. I mean, how far out are we, do you think?
I think the problems I'm talking about are primarily what you could think of, I guess, as second and third phase of IoT. We have to solve on first phase first. Yeah. So we are solving for first phase. But first phase, again, like all other business models we're accustomed to, still maintains these basic silos, right? It adds additional complexities of data volumes and data security and data protection, but those are all solvable with the technologies and the business models we have today. What I'm concerned with is can we collectively future-proof ourselves for what's coming in that second and third phase?
Okay, well, we're going to check in with you later, like 6 months, a year from now, and see how that's going. And Brandon O'Brien from Aria Systems, solving the problems of the IoT. That's what we hope. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. For Syscon TV is Roger Struckoff.